Hey everybody, Alex Kalafi here. Today I'm going to be talking about my 3DS dream games. Games that I want to see on the 3DS that don't quite exist yet, and potentially may never will. I just did a video for my Dream Vita games that is on my VG Perspectives channel that you can check out if you are among the people seeing this on Nintendo World Report or the Nintendo World Report channel. This video is going to be very basic, very simple, very brisk. I'm going to go down my list of around 15-16 games. I am going to say what these games are, what I want them to be. They do not exist yet, obviously, and they have not been announced. Now, some of these, there is a good chance they'll be announced, like the Majora's Mask 3D remake. But some of these are a little crazier and hopefully a little more fun. Alright, so let's get started. First up, Pokemon Raging Ruby and Serene Sapphire. This one's pretty easy to figure out. I want remakes in the vein of Soul Silver of Pokemon Ruby, Pokemon Sapphire, and maybe Pokemon Emerald if they want to get creative. I don't know what they could do with it. I assume they'd use the X and Y engine, but I just want it to exist. I want there to be a reimagining of my favorite Pokemon games ever. Next up, Majora's Mask 3D, a remake of The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Now, I'm usually against rehashes, but the Wind Waker HD remake was very good to me, and the 3D remake of Ocarina of Time was my first proper chance to experience Ocarina of Time as a game. And if Majora's Mask 3D comes out, that'll also be my first time and my first opportunity to experience this world. In addition to that, what I would like is a handheld original, like made for 3DS Zelda, that is a 3D game in the same style as Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. I don't know how they would do that, but I would hope that there's some way to pull off a 3D Zelda on a handheld exclusive for handheld, in the same way that you got a 3D Mario made exclusively for 3DS. Alright, next up, we got F-Zero Falcon's Fury. Now, for some of these, I actually managed to give titles to these games, because it's just something I like to do when I'm imagining my dream video games. This one is going to be very much an F-Zero game, the F-Zero game that you probably want to see on the 3DS and Wii U, except in this case, it's not just a racing game. The Falcon's Fury calls attention to Captain Falcon, the protagonist of the series. And what I want is, I want a racing game to be one part of it, and for it to be a fully fledged racing game. But what if they do this thing with Captain Falcon where they take his character from Smash Bros, or inspired by his character in Smash Bros, and they actually manage to make a really cool beat 'em up out of it? Because that's something I don't think I've ever seen in a game before. Something that is one part racing, one part crazy, maybe side-scrolling beat-em-up. And if it was made by a talented Nintendo studio, you can bet your ass it's gonna be good. Alongside F-Zero, another game a lot of Nintendo fans want that has a future questionable at best, Star Fox 64 2. Now, they don't have to call the game that, but I want Star Fox 64 2. I want the next game that does what Star Fox 64 does, but is a brand new game. Now, one idea was for Retro to do this. They obviously wouldn't, especially on a 3DS. But a Star Fox game that has all the stuff you love about Star Fox 64, but is a whole game of new content, could be pretty damn amazing. WarioWare Dimensions, a WarioWare game on 3DS. I personally think it's coming out in 2014. I could be wrong, but that is my official prediction. Metroid Dread. Now, that's the most generic title you can give to a Metroid game, since that is the one that has been floating around for so long, but I want a 2D side-scrolling Metroid on 3DS made by someone who knows to make a side-scrolling Metroid game. Pokemon Stadium 3. I really want a new Pokemon Stadium game. Maybe if I do a Wii U video like this in the future, that might be a better place to include Pokemon Stadium. But since Pokédex 3D has proved that the 3DS can handle really advanced Pokemon 3D models, a Pokemon Stadium game, or maybe even a Pokemon Coliseum-style game on a handheld, would be really, really damn cool. Donkey Kong Land Returns. So Monster Games they worked on the 3DS port of Donkey Kong Country Returns. What if they make a new handheld game in the Donkey Kong Country series? Because the world of content they made for Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D was pretty damn good, and I have confidence that they could turn out at least a halfway decent Donkey Kong Country game. Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars 2. I really like Chinatown Wars. I don't like it as much as the console games, but I think it took the concept of the original Grand Theft Auto games and it made it really damn good and really damn modern. Another game of that I would certainly appreciate. Chibi Robo 2. I was playing the demo for Chibi Robo Photo Finder on the 3DS eShop, and I was thinking how cool it would be for a game to exist that is a sequel to the original Chibi Robo while maintaining the extremely impressive graphics on that 3DS eShop game. Pikmin Portable. It's a portable Pikmin game. That's all I really have to say about it. I want it. Elite Beat Agents 2. I am so disappointed that there has not been a sequel to this game. And I don't mean like Uandon. I mean like the Americanized music performed by crazy Japanese Nintendo characters. That's the kind of game I want. Now, I understand it probably sold like garbage, and in fact, I'm pretty sure it did sell like garbage on the original DS. But that game was so damn good that I really want it regardless. It's one of those games that, as a fan, it just gets me thinking, if I had enough money to fund this project, and Nintendo would be willing to take my money, I would just give them the money and allow them to make the game however they want, as long as it is faithful to the original Elite Beat Agents. That is how much I want this game. Game Boy Remix. There's NES Remix on Wii U. I really like that game. A Game Boy Remix that takes some really popular Game Boy games, like Donkey Kong, like the sequel to the original Donkey Kong that exists, like Link's Awakening, like Super Mario Land, like Pokemon. I think that could be a really, really great collection if they made it as fun as NES Remix was. Pokemon Theatrhythm. I want a game that does what Theatrhythm did, but to do it with the amazing Pokemon music that exists. Pokemon has some of the best music I've ever heard, especially the original 2 generations. And if they could somehow capitalize on that, using the same style of gameplay as Final Fantasy Theatrhythm, that might be my game of the year right there, in a box. DJ Hero 3D. This game was canceled, this game is never going to happen, but I really want another DJ Hero game somewhere. And the one that was on the 3DS, in demo form at least a few years ago, looked promising and looked like it really could work. And, last but not least, the same thing any Nintendo fan wants. New Nintendo internal IPs. I don't mean like Pushmo, even though I love Pushmo. I don't mean Dylan's Rolling Western. I mean internal EAD, super duper internal Nintendo new IPs. On the same level of Animal Crossing, on the same level of Mario, on the same level as all of those games you like Pikmin. That's my video for today, guys. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, feel free to click like. If you dislike it, feel free to click dislike. If you have any comments of what games you want to see on the 3DS, feel free to drop a comment. And be sure to subscribe to NWR's exclusive channel if you want to see more Nintendo World Report content. And be sure to subscribe to VG Perspectives if you want to see more conversations by me like this one. Thanks, guys. That'll be all for today, and last but not least, stay aware.